Hello. Today we are talking about Unit 6, Section 4, right, from Grammar and Vocabulary. And please note that the last three sections of every unit will be vocabulary related, right? The first word you see here is resolved. I actually wanted you to see the pronunciation, right? Resolved, right? Um, and we're going to talk about expressions that we use to express purpose and intention. And you get resolved as one of them. And also you get this one. I want to check the stress. I want you to check the stress. Your intent on doing something or intent to do something, right? Which means you're very much determined, right? The stress stays the same in the expression to all intents and purposes, right? Which in American English becomes for all, sorry, intents and purposes. Now, so all of these express a strong desire to do something and strong determination. When you use bent, bent on doing something, there seems to be a little bit of obduracy. This is a nice word, obduracy, right? When you're stubborn, right? You're obdurate, stubbornness, right? And then you have other expressions like he has high hopes of doing something, or he has no thoughts of doing something. Notice that both are in the plural. Another expression that is very interesting here is I have half a mind to do something. When you have half a mind to do something, you mean you really want to do something, but possibly you can't, right? That's the idea, right? You really want to, but you can't. As opposed to I'm toying with the idea, which says that you're beginning to consider that idea, right? Clearly, when you have made up your mind, you're decided. You can also say he has set his heart on doing something, and that means that he's got a very strong desire and it's going to do everything he can to get it. You can also harbor a dream, which is a beautiful use of the noun harbor, which has been converted, right? There's been conversion to use it as a verb. Now you can harbor very nice feelings, but also very negative feelings, like harbor a grudge, right? And I always say it's like you're nursing your grudge, because harbor gives a sense of protection, right? And well, when it is a grudge, it's because you don't want someone, right? You resent someone for some reason. You have also the expression they have no intention of backing down, so they won't back down, or they have every intention of backing down, which means they will back down, right? So be careful with that difference, right? I have no intention to do something, I don't want to. I have every intention of doing something, I really want to do that. In the next column, I would like to draw your attention to verbs. All of these expressions, to be frank, the ones that follow, are very useful to talk about stories, right? This entails, involves, necessitates, or her behavior stems from her lack of, I don't know, love, or her actions resulted in the fall of the company, or whatever, right? The same goes for have a bearing on, right? This is a very useful expression. We also typically say taxation bears heavily on us, right? It means it causes a great difficulty. By the way, bear is a verb that I use a lot in class. Sometimes I tell you, bear with me. That is to say, be patient. Yes. How are you bearing up, right? Meaning how you're managing in these difficult circumstances. Okay, and many others, right? You can look up bear, the verb bear and its combinations in the dictionary. Then you have also at the bottom of this list, give rise to, bring about, and spark off. Please note that spark off is used for events that are rather abrupt and negative, right? Okay, as you can hear, I have turned the page. I am on page 109, and in activity 3 you have more expressions related to the same idea of giving explaining events like can be traced back to, right? Um, Her resentment can be traced back to the moment when he abandoned her. Engender, so an issue, for example, engenders controversy, that is to say, bring about or cause. Sow the seeds of, very popular in an old song, sow the seeds of love. Uh, a figurative way of saying bring about, right? Another one that I really like here is breeds, right? Breed, which is a verb you use a lot in connection with animals, breeding animals, interbreeding and half-bred and crossbred and whatever, or crossbreeding. But the idiom is very nice. Not born and bred, breed like rabbits, a bit negative, but familiarity breeds contempt, a typical idiomatic expression to refer to, well, when you're in too much proximity, you might end up disliking the people around you. Very topical issue right now. People tend to change this and say other things. Familiarity breeds, I don't know. They just, they are creative about it. I can't think of one at the moment, right? In the next activity, activity 4, sentence 6, is a beautiful expression which is to shed light on something. And you may ask me to shed light on something. It's a very figurative way of asking someone to explain something further, right? Okay, I'm going to move on to section 5, and we're going to talk about noun plus noun combinations. Please refer to the video noun plus noun. But from this section, I wanted to remember a couple of things. Remember that noun plus noun combinations can be open, that is to say the two words are separate, or closed, that is to say the two words are together, right? They're styled as one word, and the verb is to style. I'm not going to look it up because the technical use is not here. They use it for clothes here, but you style a word as a compound, an open compound, or a closed compound, or, as you know, a hyphenated compound, right? Because you use a hyphen. Now, what to say about these compounds? These compounds, as you very well know, can be very tricky because they tend to be very figurative, right, in meaning. So you need to work out the meaning. Sorry, as examples of closed compounds, you have them here, right, like laptop or willpower or flowchart, right? For an open compound, city center, ozone layer, and for a hyphenated one, phone card and watch strap, right? But remember, they may be styled differently in different sources. So as I was saying, one of the things about noun plus noun combination is that they can be highly figurative in meaning. So you have, for example, gunboat, diplomacy, right? Which is kind of ironic because diplomacy actually does not mean war or weapons of mass destruction like a gunboat. Well, I don't know if that's mass destruction in today's terms. But you know that this combination is figurative, right? You also have damage control, note that you can also say damage limitation, right? Damage limitation seems to be the British variety to damage control, which is much more frequent, right? Damage control. And there's one I assume you don't know, helicopter parent, right? A rather recent term to refer to the kind of kind of parent who is all over the child and is always making decisions for them. Very annoying parents, right? So much so that today we have also low mower parents, right? The combination doesn't appear in the dictionary, but it has to do with, oh, I wrote low. I'll start over. Right? You know what a lawn mower is, but we use it for a type of parent also, which is much more than a helicopter parent because it just could kind of run over their children, right? They make every single decision and they steal their thoughts. Horrible idea. You can look them up. But what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that the combination makes demands on your ability to interpret, right? And you need to have some kind of information in order to make the right decision, to understand what it means. For this, maybe the examples from Words in the Mind by Jean Aitchison, like slug powder. Slug powder is a kind of powder that kills slugs. Well, slug, right? Slug powder. But face powder is a kind of powder that you apply on your face, and talcum powder is a kind of powder that is made of talcum, right? So the relationship between the two nouns varies, right? And you need to resort to your understanding of the world to be able to work them out, and that may not be there. For this, I would like to use an example: toy car crusher, taken from Radford's Linguistics and Introduction, which can be a bit complex if you think about it. So you can think of a toy car crusher as a car crusher that is a toy, right? This would be the most sensible explanation. What is a car crusher? It's a machine, I'm sure you know, that destroys cars, right? Makes them very, very small. And it would make sense that a child would own not just toy cars, but a toy car crusher. So it's a car crusher that a child plays with. But there may be some object in a very strange world in which it is a crusher that destroys toy cars, right? That's fun, right? And I assume every parent of a young child might wish they had one, right? So, of course, this is unrealistic. This doesn't exist. But it goes to show how much we need to exercise our power to understand the world in order to make sense of these combinations. Now, these combinations are idiosyncratic. What do I mean by that? They are fossilized in a certain way because users have, I don't know, somehow liked them that way, right? Because like in an activity you have here on the same page, activity 1, combination number 6, film popularity, you can say the film's popularity. Or the popularity of the film. The two are possible. This is rarely true for all combinations, right? In most cases, there's only one answer, right? But this is possible, and actually what we need to see behind two nouns is that there is either a noun plus noun combination or a combination with of or a combination with apostrophe s, right? So these are genitival relationships. One more thing I want to say is that the combinations in English are just putting two words together. It's a very simplistic way of solving the noun plus noun combination. Spanish doesn't like to do that. And for example, just to give you an example, for a cowbell, we come up with cencerro, right? If you think about it, that's a much more complex word, right? And for spy hole, we have militia, right? Which is actually in itself a diminutive. So, well, I wanted to draw your attention to these combinations. You will find many in the activities here, but that's all there is to it. In point of fact, in the exam practice at the very end, the very last activity, activity 3, oh no, it's not here. I thought I found it elsewhere. Oh no, it's not here. We're thinking of a brain drain. I don't know where I found it. Oh yes, sorry. It is page 111, activity 4. You speak of a brain drain, and you know that doesn't refer to disease of the brain, but rather to the fact that the smart people leave one country, right? A brain drain, in English you speak of a brain drain to the United States or to Europe. Um, we speak of a brain drain in Argentina because the smart people are going away. All right, so that's about it. A lot of vocabulary for you. Feel free to ask any questions you may have. Thank you.